Welcome back. Um, we're gonna continue onward out of Álfheimr, right?
Yep, exactly. So we entered the light in the last episode. We recharged the Bifrost, and now we're making our way back to the Temple of Tyr to get back to Midgard. Go clear out the Black Breath on the way up to the summit of the mountain.
And Tyr's temple is like this that's like the central portal from which you can travel to the different realms, right?
Yep, exactly. So uh, he built it with the help of dwarves and giants and elves and everyone,
Hmm.
and it allows travel between the nine different realms with the help
Okay.
of the Bifrost. So not all the realms are, you can't access all of them yet. I think you need specific runes to get there. So when we
Okay.
went to Alfheim, Freya had given us the rune for
Right.
Alfheim to enter there. So we got to find the runes for other um, realms like Muspelheim and things like that, which
Hmm.
we'll eventually get to. Those are kind of
Cool.
like side quests and things like that. But
Excellent.
yeah, yeah.
All
So
right.
we'll kick it off. We're just cruising back to the boat here, trying to get out of the temple where we got the
Okay.
light. Let's get some loot here and there.
Excellent.
Hex silver, currency, and here's the sand bowl. We've got to put in the rune. Um, I
What's
recall what the
Atreus
rune
up
was to
to?
get in. But
He-
we are going to, yep, so he's going to input the rune, but
Okay.
we get interrupted by the Dark Elf King,
Ooh.
Svartalfheimr. Whiff. So we get to fight him.
Okay.
Pretty fun battle here.
Buzzing around.
Yep,
So is this the one that was flying about like
yep,
last time?
taunting us.
Oh, yeah.
Tried to
Okay.
kidnap Atreus. Yeah, so he was kind of on our, you know what's the entire time while
Yes.
being in here. I'm trying to get a little revenge.
Waiting. Yeah. Waiting for his moment. Doing well, Mike.
Thanks. I do have it on the easiest difficulty just to kind of get through the combat
Yeah.
and stick to the story.
No judgment.
Bartol Yofer. Bartol.
I can't see the name very well.
Oh, I think I'll get there when I get the after the death blow here.
No, that can't be.
What did it say?
That we made a grave mistake.
So he told us we made a grave mistake. We're not entirely sure what that means yet. Um,
Hmm.
we did get a little summon spell for Atreus. He's able to summon some wolves here.
I...
Let me guess. You're gonna be smug.
So Svartalfheimr, I'm probably not saying that right.
Um,
King has been harassing us. Thought he'd feel good, but before he died, he said the Lighthouse were the bad guy. Bad guys. They don't seem evil. Were they really the ones who started the war? Maybe the Dark Elves were fighting back. Maybe
yeah, we
that's why
did.
Father didn't want to get involved.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, the complexity of this war between the two. Like
That is
some
an
people have
mhm,
pointed that out in the comments that it's not like
yeah, yeah, you
Do
kind of
you
clear
remember the
Yeah,
answer?
a
yeah.
good side
just
and
off
bad
the bat.
side.
That's what Atreus did. He just assumed off the bat that the Dark Elves were
Right.
murdering the light. And
Yeah, exactly.
Boy,
And as
read this.
Kratos points out, it's much more
What's that say?
complicated than
The only time
that.
you want to talk to me is when you need
Do
me.
you want to tell me something?
I said the only time you care to talk to me is when you need me to translate for you. If Mom was
If
here,
your mother was still alive, we would not be here at all.
feeling a little of the resentment, probably still from the time he took in the light.
Fine.
Yeah. Atreus has just like had it. He's
Yeah.
had it with his dad.
Admiring the scenery here.
Mm-hmm.
Make our way back to.
Very pretty.
Was she in the light?
Who?
You know.
Oh, she was not there.
Oh,
Not like you would even care if she was.
liar.
Mind your tongue, boy! Until our journey is over, one of us must remain focused. Do not mistake my silence for lack of grief. Mourn how you wish. Leave me to my own.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
No. Why would you? You do not know my ways. I know it has not been easy. In the light, I felt only moments pass. If that is of some comfort to you.
That's good to know. Really. So, should we go back to Midgard? Face the Black Breath? Or do you think there's more to see in this realm?
We'll make our way back to Midgard here.
So,
Okay.
what do you mean I see
Yeah.
with the eyes of a
Black
child?
breath.
In war,
Yeah.
the soldier sees beauty only in the blood of his enemy. The rest of him is lost. Sometimes never to return.
You know about war, don't you?
Wars
Well,
are
yeah.
fought for two things, survival or advantage. Battles may be won by the better soldier. Wars are won by those who are willing to sacrifice everything to ensure victory.
You're back. I see you've been busy.
I'll observe that.
I am known for my attention to detail. You boys look like you're gearing up for quite the journey.
Talk to Sindri
There's
for a
an
little bit.
abandoned temple in Miðgarðr that a fellow dwarf converted to his personal storeroom. Packed it with all sorts of treasures he collected during his travels throughout the realms.
Throughout the realms? Which ones did he go to? What did he collect?
Fafnir was a, shall we say, aggressive collector of
Fafnir.
magic artifacts. The more he acquired, the more he desired. There was no realm too dangerous, no relic too hazardous. He once ventured deep into Niflheim for a whetstone of all things. Huh. I bet that was quite the whetstone.
Does this story have a point?
Yes, it does. I just happen to have an entry stone to Fafnir's storeroom. You might find something useful in there.
Neat. Thanks, Sindri.
You're very welcome. Oh, and if you find that whetstone, well, it sure would be nice of you to bring it to me.
You were in the temple. Get head back to
Okay.
Midgard.
It's crazy to think that all the realms exist in the same space, one on top of the other. It's like this room lets us travel without moving.
Yeah, so here we are, back. We're gonna go say hi to Brock.
Brock! We just came back from another realm. And we met your brother. Wait, not that order.
Did you let that seed saw put hand to your blade? Hmm?
So
You
surly.
lost his talent.
He really is.
Just up and left him one day. Tried
He and Sindri kind of rivals.
Yeah,
Did he botch up on her girl?
yeah, they had a falling out.
Quite the opposite.
Well.
Yeah, even a blind pig farts up a truffle now and again. But you know what really counts? Consistency. And I got that coming out of all of my parts.
What did you do?
It's better.
It's bitter.
Good. Now when you're done gawking, I got a favor to ask.
What is it, dwarf?
There's this alchemist on Vari, been working out in the Velander mines.
On Vari.
Heard from him in
Somebody.
maybe, I don't know, 100 winters or so. Probably dead, but maybe you can find him. He's dwarfing like me, wears a fancy green ring, owes me a favor. You look?
if it is on our path.
Oh, I see how it is. Not a something-for-nothing type, are you? Fine. If you find Andvari, I'll make him whip you up something special. This entry stone here ought to get you inside those mines.
Another side quest here. Gotta go find Fafnir's
I need that
storeroom.
alchemist for something
All
else.
right.
And then Andvari the alchemist.
Vari the Alchemist. We'll get back to Anvari as well.
Back to the Black Breath.
Of course. We need to walk across the bridge to the Vanaheim Tower. Are we going to the Black Breath or exploring? Your choice.
Your choice.
Just take a minor detour here. We'll get back to this eventually, in the future, but this is kind of cool here.
What is
Some interesting
this?
dialogue.
A horn. Here's the end.
Can we blow into it?
Without knowing the outcome,
See Jormungandr
Usually
back
push
there.
every button
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there it is.
outcomes we can predict. No, this is something else. We must develop your instincts.
I knew it. We are blowing the horn.
No, we are testing your resolve.
I have resolve. A bunch of it. I won't blow into it if you don't. I won't blow into it if you don't.
So we can't blow into it quite yet, but we will eventually.
Oh, okay.
It's getting a good gander at Jormungandr.
Yeah. Hovering above.
He's big.
He is big. Encircles the whole world.
We rode past that statue of Thor earlier, when we left the witch's den.
And what direction is that?
It's mid-morning. The sun is over there, so that's south. Southwest?
Good.
I'm looking for the sun just to verify the accuracy here. So we're heading up back to the Black Breath where we were before.
Okay.
Here we go!
Kill some Draugr.
Revenants? Oh, it's right. Okay.
Yeah. There we go. Good one. Oops.
They were pretty weak.
Why did it disappear?
Beware of seiðr and those who practice
seiðr.
it. There's
Mhm.
seiðr. Sorcerer's
Mhm.
insidious and ever changing.
You
There's souls who master it. The more power they summon, the less they are themselves.
can come back to that.
Yeah, good idea. Skip ahead just a scoons. Oh yeah, we got Sindri again. So at the base of the mountain here, we're gonna go talk
You
to
made it
Sindri.
out of Fafnir's storeroom yet?
He's asking
Oh,
about
I
that.
know it's not my business, but if I were you, I'd wash off that symbol painted on your neck.
We were told it would help protect us. Was that a lie?
Oh, no, it's a protection stave, all right, but
The one Freya
you can't
gave
render
us.
that pigment into paintable
Mhm.
texture without blending it with boar urine. And is that really better than death?
Maybe a little.
Well, it's your neck. Ugh.
Sindri, have you always been so...
Clean? Huh. Don't I wish. No, I was just as unsanitary as the next dwarf until the day a Vanir witch set me straight. She discovered with the magic there are hundreds of thousands of tiny beasties on everything around us. Oh, so small you can't even see them.
No.
It's true. And if they get inside you, they make you sick. But the witch told me there's one wood, the oak, that's a natural deterrent. Stops the beasties from spreading. So now, I make all my handles from oak. See? I think of these things. Okay, back to work.
Bit of a
Bit of a
germaphobe.
germ. I was gonna say a bit of a germaphobe.
Boy,
Oh, it's fine.
Very
good
late.
question, actually. You see, my brother's not as careful as I am. In
We
fact,
find out why Brock's
he
blue.
prefers to work with metals using his own bare hands. Ugh. No gloves. Says it's the only way he can hear what it wants to be. Touch enough raw silver and it changes your skin.
Oh, okay.
That means forever. I wouldn't bring it up to him though. You know how sensitive he can be.
I guess that makes sense. Sindri, why don't you just make up with your brother already?
Me? Make up with him? Because he's an obstinate pighead incapable of change. Because he says the most terrible things about me, just because he's insecure about his own work, which, let me tell you, is subpar. Because he blames me for the things that aren't my fault.
Huh? Like what?
Would you pardon me, please? I need to collect myself.
We do find
story
out why
there.
they split. And it's interesting the way that they tie it in here.
Okay. So that's why his
wolves.
nice. So that's why his skin's blue.
Yep. He worked with raw silver too much without any sort of gloves or anything like that.
Okay. I had been wondering. So they just evaporate when you kill them?
Guess so.
I guess most things do in this game.
Poison wolves.
Poison wolf. Rabbit.
These have really nice visuals in the game.
Yeah. This is a nice little contraption for you to ride
I
up.
think I could carry her now,
No,
but
I said no.
Okay.
So is this Dwarven built this gondola
I think
that we're on?
I think Sindri built it actually.
Okay.
Earlier it was covered with the brambles that Freya
You would know
Oh,
better than
yeah.
I.
Thanks.
was able to dispel.
Watch her step. Carelessness will only delay us.
The face on the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's the black breath again. What do we do now?
We see if the witch was right.
It's working. She was right.
Ooh.
Come.
Yeah,
let us
kinda
finish
cool.
this.
Do we know exactly what the black breath is yet? Just that.
No, and I'm not sure if they ever actually tell us. We know. I think we'll find out who created it, where the magic came from,
Huh.
and then which is interesting too.
Okay.
But I guess we're not really sure specifically what it is. I could be wrong. Certainly, someone pointed out in the comments if you know.
Absolutely. Doing the job.
Yep, nice long nipple shot of Kratos right here. And there you go.
Path ahead.
It's gone.
Blocked.
Then we climb.
Complete. Now they can go on.
Yep. And to scale the mountain.
Very good.
Fashioned way.
I like when he hops on his. Oh, I love that. It's like it's gonna happen soon.
Like a lemur.
Just hops on his back.
You know, Mother said the giants used to visit the Miðgarðr mountains before they disappeared.
Disappeared.
Yeah, I guess they just up and left one day. No one knows why.
Perhaps they returned.
Concerned
to their
about
home.
this cliff
Theodenheim?
cliffside.
Maybe. I wonder if the face in the mountain was a tribute to some important giant.
So here is the mouth. Or nose, perhaps. I'm not sure. The mouth.
More black breath.
Pretty handy. So the light just doesn't
Mhm.
run out now.
But it's fully charged. So I guess it would probably run out eventually. But
That ended.
You're using a lot of it.
Door to Theodenheim and Tyr's temple.
Yep.
The giants did come here.
so it figured out that this was a place where the giants once lived.
Is that a deer? I
Ooh.
don't remember stories of a giant with a deer head. Wonder who he is.
Little puzzle we'll solve.
Mm-hmm.
In just a second.
Nothing.
What does it say?
No yoked beast, nor fearful thrall, nor rooted tree doth know my call.
Prepare yourself.
Fight a couple guys here. We're gonna grab one of those
Nice.
crystals, light it up, and then all will be made clear.
Anything that got up there?
Okay. So these things are like not affected by the black breath, then clearly. And like
Yes, not. Or it might have been up here just since prior to maybe the black breath even being there.
okay, just trapped in there then.
Mm-hmm.
This place must have been important to the giants. It's like they're testing us. Okay, that looks right.
Thank you.
Just the never-ending commentary from
Floorboard.
Atreus.
That doesn't mean anything. Something's missing.
So here's the
Room.
solution.
Is it the answer?
Freedom. Sure, that works.
Go ahead.
Sure. Rouse. What you doing? Oh, thought maybe there'd be a bridge.
A little more climbing. Oh, this is the door.
Test us further.
There's a crystal in that torch holder. Should I light it?
Yes.
That helps, right?
Doesn't even wait.
Guess we have to go down and go up.
These passages seem too small for giants. Why do you laugh?
Oh, you're serious.
I am always serious.
I forget. Mom always said you never took an interest in history. Giants are just a race, like elves and older folk. It doesn't mean they're big.
What of the world serpent?
Okay, in that case, giant also means big. There's only one.
We'll come back to this. I like this. Are these Dragar?
Yep. So we just fought a bunch of Draugr and continue on to try to get to the other side where
This
that
is a lot of bodies.
statue was.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of dead people.
A lot of dead. Yeah, so the statue of the deer.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you see.
Well, they
Stag.
look like men, not giants.
Correct. Thieves seeking treasure. See the traps?
Oh yeah. Lucky for us, they set them all off.
Be grateful.
It's a lot of
they're
thieves.
dead.
Mm-hmm. There we go. We're on the other side.
Statue! We made it across!
All right.
What does it say?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is Durok.
Made our way past a couple Draugr, and now
Nice.
we're getting to the heart of the mountain.
Whoa. What is all this? Where are we?
Oh my.
Heavy construction.
And if this claw reaches the summit, our goal is near.
So this is
Alright. How do we use it?
where the giants, I guess, used to do some work, mining and smithing and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the
I think I
giants
see how
were,
this works.
according to this,
Claws on one side.
Mhm.
and
working
if
in the
we get
mines.
this stuck-
Whoa.
Jesus.
Oh no! I think the rope's stuck under that rock.
That was careless.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
We dispatched the Draugr, and we're gonna go do a little exploring.
All right.
I was wondering who woke up every Draugr in the mountains. Should have figured.
Rocks here too.
You
They
have
just
a way
are
around.
everywhere.
They just appear in like different.
Now don't go thinking I could have gotten you past it, you big sack of meat. I got ways around most everything, especially up here. The time was, my folk had the run of this joint. Improved the design of the Jotnar traps and built workarounds to boot. Why you think they're so devious? Oh, that reminds me. Watch out for traps.
Brock,
Fuck else you need?
how come your brother's got half your brand?
'Cause I ain't in a working relationship with that footlicker no more. I wasn't about to let him use it without me, and he likewise. Only thing to do was split the brand 50-50 down the middle. Guess that was the last thing we saw eye to eye on. What? You want a hug? Hit the road.
Sorry.
Just trying to exhaust all the dialogue because it always it's a little interesting and adds.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You didn't happen to run yourself afoul of a scruffy fella about yay high, doesn't feel pain, sounds drunk but probably just slow? Hey, how'd you think I feel about it? If I'd wanted Aesir business, I'd have set up shop outside a brothel. Or a fighting pit. Or a fighting brothel.
Did he say Aesir? Like gods?
No.
Be extra careful out there, you two. The roads are teeming with more than usual complement of dead assholes lately.
We've noticed. Any idea where they're coming from?
Maybe they ran out of rooms in hell. Or could be Odin stirring up trouble again. Or maybe they all got lost. Why don't you ask one while he's chewing your face off?
We'll just be careful.
Thought so.
Brock, what do you know about the serpent in the lake?
I know he's too damn big.
Alright.
Well, that was a good one. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. There's a lot in there.
Yeah. I will say, first of all, that I
Sure.
really, really like how, like, and that's exactly how I explain, like, Jotnar, and, you know, this idea that, like, the words, they're translated, as we talked about before, to giants, but that's, like, not really, I mean, that's really misleading. And I think that it says what Atreus says is exactly right, that, like,
Mhm.
they're another race. And, I mean, like, sure, the Miðgarðr serpent's huge, big enough to wrap around the whole world, but at the same time, you know, it's unclear because Thor can evidently fish for him and everything. But in any case, like, they're just another race, much like elves and dwarves, and they're not anything that's supposed to be, like, you know, giant in size. But we've covered that already. But I really liked that Atreus said that and articulated that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, they can be physically large, but
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily so.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just trying to find some other stuff.
Yeah, how about
Because
oh, go ahead on the
yeah,
giants.
well, on Anvari specifically.
Oh yeah,
just finding the
that's what
textual
I was going to ask
references.
on too. Is just the two side quests for the dwarves, Brock and Sindri. So Sindri has us going to Fafnir's storeroom.
Yes.
Brock is asking us to find Andvari the alchemist.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. So there's a couple things. There's Fafnir. Fafnir is Fafnir is well, I don't know, maybe we should talk about Anvari first.
Sure.
But Fafnir, they're both kind of like, they're both related to the Sigurd the Dragon Slayer legend. And Anvari in the mythology is a dwarf. So he's a dwarf that can change himself into I think the shape of a pike, if I'm remembering this correctly. I'm just trying to find exactly where this is. It's in Skaldskaparmál. Yeah, so it's in one of the sections of Snorri's Edda. There is this dwarf named Anvari can change himself into a fish in the water. So he's connected to the Sigurd the Dragon Slayer legend, which in turn is what influenced Lord of the Rings, because he made that ring, the ring that, and he's the one that cursed it as well and cursed the gold. What had happened was that Loki had, he was along with a couple other gods, including Odin. He had accidentally killed this kind of this otter who was actually the brother of Fafnir and Regin. And he had to pay ransom for the death of the otter that was actually the brother of these of this man, or sorry, the son of this man named Hreidmar, who had two other sons, Fafnir and Regin. And all these sons are like special in some way. So there's Otter, who turns into an otter. There's Fafnir, who's a dragon, and then there's Regin, who's a skilled smith. So that's all kind of interconnected in the mythology. And so they have to provide ransom, and in order to find the ransom, Loki goes to find this dwarf named Andvari. He goes to Svart Álfheimr, or still the dark elf world, and he catches Andvari, who is at this time like disguised as, or changed himself into the shape of a fish, and he takes all of his treasure, his gold, and this ring. And he begs him, according to the text, Andvari begs Loki not to take the ring, but he does it anyway. He takes all of his gold, and he said that he basically cursed it and said that anybody who possesses this, it's going to be bad news for. And that's what ends up happening. Like, they give the ransom to the father of Otter and also of Fafnir and Regin, and like immediately the two other sons, Fafnir and Regin, they kill their father to get the gold. So it like takes effect immediately. So so there was a curse of the gold that starts to work. They tried to, then Regin says, let's divide it equally between us. And Fafnir says, nope. And he takes it all. And he goes and like sits in the hoard of gold. And that sets into motion like the Sigurd the Dragon Slayer thing, because Regin, the other brother, is like a skilled blacksmith, and he helps Sigurd and kind of trains him, and helps him reforge his sword that his from the scattered remains of his, or the broken remains of his father's sword, in order basically to get that treasure. So it's all kind of like it's in the mythology, or in Snorri's Edda at least, it's kind of it's the transitional piece between like the proper mythology and then the legendary material that's related to the mythology, because the Volsungs are related to Odin, and there's all kinds of, the gods have all kinds of doings with these legendary characters. So Fafnir is not said to be a dwarf necessarily. I'm trying to think if it's, looking at the text here, if it says it's a shapeshifter. It doesn't really indicate that he's a dwarf or not. So he's a dragon that sits, he's best known as the dragon that sits atop the gold. And it's from whom that Sigurd the Dragon Slayer gets his by name Fáfnisbani, or Fafnir's Bane, the killer of Fafnir.
Interesting.
Anyway, long story, but
definitely see a lot of parallels with Lord of the Rings for sure.
Oh, absolutely,
and the Hobbit with Smaug, and things like that, sitting on the treasure. And
exactly. So you can see where, just in my kind of convoluted retelling of that part, that you can see how we talked about Tolkien last time, about how he had, where that inspiration came from. So Andvari, known for having this ring, and the gold as well, and cursing it, and then Fafnir being the dragon, the shapeshifter, that Sigurd, the Dragon Slayer, kills, and then he takes the gold, and it continues to work its curse on and on and on throughout his legend.
Funny how, again, Loki's kind of central to this.
Exactly.
Treachery, that if he would have just left the ring alone, all this death and destruction would have been avoided.
Well, it's hilarious because there's a flow chart, this Norse crisis flow chart, and I'll have we'll put it up here to show you this Norse crisis flow chart that basically says, like, did Loki do it? Did the giants do it? Did Loki do it? And basically it all comes down to Loki did it, and the solution is to make Loki fix it. And that's kind of the crisis flow chart. Like, Loki both causes and solves problems for the gods, is really what's central to the mythology. So every time that Atreus does something that kind of mucks things up, it's like, that's consistent. That's consistent with the mythology, that he both is he's very smart, and he helps them, he helps his dad out of a lot of he helps solve puzzles, he can read the runes, he can understand the language and everything, but he also causes a lot of the problems that they're in, like, for example, like what just happened in the mines.
That's right.
No, so if you're to the legend with Andvari and Fafnir, it's in Snorri Sturluson's Prose Edda, but it's also in the Saga of the Volsungs. If you've ever seen like the ring cycle, Wagner's ring cycle, that's based on the same kind of tradition, the Nibelungenlied, which stems from the same kind of oral Germanic tradition, about that hero. So it's so those are a couple of like kind of related characters from the primary sources that they're taking kind of a slightly different spin on. But I like that they have Andvari being into alchemy because of this association with gold, right? Like that.
Sure,
that was.
And
was
he calls out the ring that he wears, the fancy. They said it was a green ring, but
exactly. It's really cool to see, like, that they really did their homework here and consulted with people
for a side quest too, which is pretty cool.
Totally,
just
like
the
these
attention to detail.
Little Easter eggs, and that was kind of associated with alchemy in the ring. That's pretty cool. And then the other thing,
real quick, I gotta just check something here.
No worries. Get back to work.
Okay, we're good to go. So we'll talk about whichever one you want to get to next. If you want to get to this guy on the screen.
Let's get to this guy. So I mean, there's descriptions, a couple of descriptions of the world tree and the various creatures that inhabit it. And one of the more detailed descriptions is in a poem called Grimnismal, or Grimnir's Sayings. I think I mentioned it in a previous episode that we did. This is the one where like Odin goes in disguise to test his foster son. And it kind of backfires for him. He's put to the flames, and like in this almost like trance-like state, which relates to seiðr. Actually, we can get back to that. He professes all of this knowledge and all of these various facts about the world tree, and different gods and realms and everything. And he does have a little bit where he talks about the creatures that inhabit Yggdrasil, and he says, and I'll read the stanza 33 in Grimnir's Sayings. This is Carolyn Larrington's translation. There are 4 hearts too, who gnaw with necks thrown back the highest boughs, Dáin and Dvalin, Duneyr and Durathror. So this
one.
Durathror. There's no mention, as far as I know, of like the guarding like specific. They're supposed to just sort of be like in the foliage, like sort of gnawing away at the leaves of the tree. So some liberties taken here, but it works for the story. And then it continues, and we talk about the other creatures and the tree and everything, the eagle and Ratatosk and the serpents at the bottom. So but that is one of the 4 stags that's up in the trees foliage, eating away at it.
Interesting. I like the depiction just with a man's body with a stag head. I don't know, it looks pretty cool. What else did we have to talk about?
I think seiðr was maybe one of the other ones. So seiðr
so we did find that lore marker that said beware of seiðr magic, and
exactly,
you could lose your soul essentially by practicing it. And
so I mean,
I know we've talked about that in the past. It's connected to like witchcraft and things like that, right?
Exactly. It's sort of a form of like sorcery, and it's something that's typically associated with like the Vanir, and as well as Odin. And Odin evidently learned it from the Vanir. And it's atypical for men to practice seiðr. It's thought to be a practice that was predominantly something that women did, and it kind of gets opens Odin up to a lot of like insults, the fact that he's practiced it in the past and that he continues to practice it. But it's a form of witchcraft, and that there's various things associated with it as well. Yeah, and I liked there were some references to Odin as well, and Odin being I like that too, because I think that that's something that it takes a little while getting it does well it maybe doesn't take that long getting into the mythology to see that Odin is not like he's not a great god, and it's very clear like different gods and humans and characters don't necessarily trust him, and he's thought to be kind of unreliable and fickle, and in a lot of ways, like he and Loki, they share a lot of attributes as trickster figures. So I kind of liked that kind of came up as Odin stirring up trouble again, and his association with the dead, of course, as well.
Because that continues to be the theme with the Draugr attacking constantly, and the revenants and everything, and reavers coming back from the dead, etc.
Yeah, exactly. So I liked that as well. What else was there? Was there anything else?
I don't think so. I know we're coming up, we're going to be getting to the top of the mountain. And then further past that, what happens after, subsequent to getting to the summit. So there's a lot of really good stuff coming. Certainly a lot more in the way of the mythology and lore. Once we get introduced to some of these new characters, there's going to be a lot of them. So definitely a lot more to come in the future gameplay here too. I think we're getting into the good part, and
this is great, and it's fun to see. It's fun to see what they're doing with the material and how they're working with some of the nuances in it too. I wish I could have heard. I couldn't really hear what the dark elf king was saying, which is it's basically what his name means. Dwarven is like a poetic word for king. So basically dark elf king. And I couldn't really understand I couldn't like hear what he was saying, but
I know Atreus basically said, you made a mistake or something like that.
And he translated it anyway. So But weren't the other dark elves speaking a different language though, that was like not Old Norse like?
Yeah, we heard a little bit of it in the last episode, and
I know
that's when we kind of got on the Tolkien topic, and wondering if it was maybe more like the some of the languages that he created for the orcs or things like that. But,
I mean, this was definitely different than that, but anyway, awesome. So we're gonna finally get to the top of the mountain.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So big step in the journey, but not
Absolutely.
the end, as you know. But
Very good.
Certainly a lot more to come. But
cool.
I don't know if you'll do a Q&A. As the questions keep coming in, just as some kind of filler and things like that. But
for sure, I have I've kind of got a list of some questions of things that people have asked that I'll address in sort of a separate episode. So if anything else comes up, let me know, and I'll do that in between times. So
we really appreciate all the engagement. It's been fun doing this, and keep the questions coming in, or comments, or if anyone has anything to say about this. It's really fun engaging with everyone. So
absolutely. All right, thanks everybody.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.